Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make the daily planet building in Minecraft for all of your city building needs. The daily planet is where Clark Kent, spoiler alert, Superman, works, which is cool and all, but what's even cooler is the daily planet building is a really interesting looking skyscraper, which would just look wonderful in our city. Fun fact, I was hidden somewhere in the intro of this video. Let me know if, where and when you found me. I've not made it easy. This is the amount of space required to make the build, a 37 block wide by 33 block long area as represented by this handy grid on the screen. To find the starting position, begin at the front left corner of the grid and count inwards diagonally and find the fourth block. That's where we start. And here are all of the materials that we will use throughout the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all of these. Begin the build by placing 12 smooth sandstone in a row on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Extend inwards by 3, 1, 2, 3, and then to the right by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Extend forwards by 3, 1, 2, 3, and then to the right by 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then extend backwards by 26. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. We can then extend all the way across the back of the build, line up with the front of the build, and just join together. And that will give us this. Next, we will come all the way to this position and extend this smooth sandstone block up by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we will extend all the way across to the right and then down, just like this. And then we will extend back and down. And then we will just extend across and down, forwards and down. The idea is that we are extending along the base of the build and connecting to the pivotal points. So wherever we have a change of direction, so any of the corners we just want to join down. And this will help us create the very base of the skyscraper. So now that we have done this, we can place a smooth sandstone here, extend up by 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we can do a very similar thing. We can extend across and then down, inwards into this corner point. Now, it's a little bit different for this part right in the very middle. We're actually going to leave this alone, but pretty much everywhere else. So here, for example, we can place a smooth sandstone, extend up 1, 2, 3, and then we can begin to extend across and then down into this corner and back into this corner and all the way across into this corner, and then just all the way back to the start again to give us the second tier of the skyscraper. Next, we are going to extend this block backwards 1, and then up by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we are going to work anti-clockwise, and we are going to extend to the left and join down to this corner. But we will do the same, extending all the way to the very back of the build and down into this corner and all the way across and down to here. And then we can extend forwards. And here. And the goal is to just extend across a little bit, and we want to join just behind this block, so we can just extend up a little bit like this, and this is what we should have so far. Then we are able to come to the front left hand corner of the skyscraper and extend up by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we can extend right by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And down. But we also want to extend backwards by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then down. Just like so. And then we will come to the back corner and do the same. So up by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this way by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then down. And across the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down, and then this opposite corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the back, and down, and then extending towards the front of the build, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then down, and then coming all the way over to this front corner, we extend up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then towards the back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down, and then just across the front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then down, just like this. So for the next part, it's a little bit different depending on the side. On the front here, we will place an additional sandstone in this corner and extend up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we will extend to the right. And the goal is to join down just behind this block. So we want to have something that should look like this. And we want the same here as well. So in this corner, place a block, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we can just extend to the left. And we want to join down to here. So we will extend back and then all the way up. So we have a matching set on the front. But that is where the similarities kind of end between the front and everywhere else, as we can then just extend these corners back towards the back of the build, and we can just join down to the inward corner of the skyscraper, and then just all the way across and down like this, and then just all the way forwards. And this is kind of like what I would call the first half of the skyscraper. So this is pretty much the entire base minus the entrance. We are now going to work on adding detail to this. My recommendation would be to move the black stained glass closer to the smooth sandstone, as they are about to be very well acquainted. We'll start at the base and work up. So, in this corner, on the front of the build, we will place 2 black stained glass in this position. And right of this, 2 rows of smooth sandstone from the ground up. We will then place a row of glass, smooth sandstone, glass, smooth sandstone, extending across in this pattern, just like so. We can fill this gap in here with smooth sandstone, and we can apply the same thing just across to the right. And then we can continue to place rows of black stained glass and smooth sandstone in this side of the base. The only part where this doesn't continue to happen is... Actually, it does continue to happen. We can just simply extend that pattern across until we reach the corner. It's only a bit tricky, as along the side of the build, we will have a row of black stained glass, like this, and then we will have 2 rows of smooth sandstone. 1, 2, and then we will continue our pattern, so a row of glass for every row of smooth sandstone. It just gets a little bit weird at the corners, but for the most part, as we approach the end here, we will want to place 2 rows of sandstone and then 1 row of glass. So just to show you, this is what it looks like visually. Really simple. And we want the exact same thing across the back of the build, by the way. So we'll have initially a row of glass, 2 rows of smooth sandstone, and then we will continue our pattern. If you like, you can even preemptively add these into the sides. So on the side you can add the glass and then the 2 smooth sandstone, and you can do the same thing here, and you can do the same thing here if you like. And then it's almost a lot less thinking, if you ask me. Then you can continue to just place the pattern without having to worry whether we are nearing the end of a wall and are we doing it right, and you guys get the idea. So eventually we will have this. For the part slightly above, we are going to connect the bottom row of smooth sandstone together. So just extending all the way along the base of what I will call the second part of the skyscraper, the second tier. We want to make this. Now, in the corners, we want to add an additional row of 2 smooth sandstone. So like this, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then just for every single corner, we extend 2 smooth sandstone towards the center. And that will give us... By the way, I just realized at the very front of the build, for some reason, we have the glass and the sandstone swapped here. So I don't know if you did that yourself. I don't know who could have caused that to happen. But regardless, I'm just going to swap these to match the opposite side. So it's a glass here in this corner, and then the sandstone, and then it just matches, well, every single other corner. I also just discovered another slight error, but it's so easy to fix, it seems a shame to restart the tutorial for this. We must extend these rows of smooth sandstone 1 row inwards, like this. So on the front of the build, the rows of smooth sandstone that are in between the entrance, they want to line up with the base here, rather than sitting 1 row inwards. And we can just remove that row that sits along the inside of it now. So the difference is between this and then this. And that's all we've got to do. We add the additional row, and we remove the one that is along the inside, and there we go. Problem solved. Again, I would usually just restart the whole tutorial, but that is such a simple fix. Finally, moving back to the second tier of the build, we can fill this gap in with alternating black stained glass and sandstone blocks, and we just want to do this for pretty much the entire second tier. So as long as we start off with a glass extending from the corners, we can't really go too far wrong. I certainly wouldn't know anything about doing anything wrong, like, you know, the entrance of the skyscraper. I genuinely don't even know how I made that mistake. Next, before we move up to tier 3, we have the option of adding sandstone wall in these positions. So it extends, first of all, just up right by the entrance from the ground. It steps up onto tier 2 and then comes all the way up to the very top of it. We then place another row of it here in between these windows, and another row of it here on the end of these windows, and it just looks like this. And we have the exact same thing here on the opposite side. So this is quite accurate based on a model that I used to design this entire build off, but I'm not certain that it looks better than it would without it. But I'll leave it up to you. Does it look better or worse with the sandstone wall? Well, it's not just the front of the build that we must apply this to. We have to do it along the side as well. So it starts here, and we extend up just like this, and then we basically just leave a gap between every two windows. We then add a row of smooth sandstone, and that's the pattern. So we add the sandstone, we just leave a gap of two windows in between, and then once we can't add any more to this side, for instance, we can move around the back and do the same. So we start right here where like the main windows begin, and then we just keep applying it. And it's kind of interesting, I will say that. Like, it's an interesting feature of the building. Does it look better? I don't know. I could probably live without it, but again, you know, if we leave off key details of the building, like, it slowly stops becoming what we're trying to make in the first place. So even if we don't prefer this, like, if it is a bit more accurate in relation to what we're trying to recreate, then it's probably worth doing in the first place. It'd be like taking, I don't know, Mickey Mouse's clubhouse and just like making it blue just because we don't really like red. So there we go. That's all of the wall added. Yep, and now that we've done that, we are going to move up to tier 3, which is actually a little bit blurry. So, tier 3, we will first of all add a layer of smooth sandstone block along the inside of this row here, and along the inside of this row here, so the bottom to the top. And we'll do the same thing in each one of the 4 corners. So we just extend a row of smooth sandstone all the way from the bottom, leading all the way up to the very top. And eventually, we should just have something which should look like this, which might look a bit weird and complicated, but it's not. We can now take the entire of the 3rd and 4th tiers, and we can turn it into Swiss cheese. So, to start off this process, we will connect the base of tier 3 together, which is made more difficult by placing those walls. Another reason to love the walls. And once we have connected the base together, we can just divide the area up even more. So we can leave a gap of 1 between the row that we've just placed and another row. And we want to keep cutting this area in half, or into pieces, slices, if you will, like cheese. Horizontally. I don't know why I'm stuck on cheese. Maybe I'm a bit hungry. I don't know. But we can keep adding these rows. And then finally, for this tier, we can add another one. So again, just leaving a row's gap, we want to add another horizontal row of smooth sandstone that permeates tier 3 of the building. I think that we've done it, so that's perfect. And before we move up to the next part, we can then add vertical rows of smooth sandstone. You can see where this is coming together now. You can add vertical rows of smooth sandstone that turn this into Swiss, from American to Swiss. And we will then, once we have added all of these rows... I didn't realise how unfun this would be. Once we have added all of these vertical rows, we will have this, and then ultimately we will fill them in with glass, but we now must painstakingly, is there an easier way? Not really. I was considering kind of like going around each individual row, like horizontally, and adding these, but it's probably not too much faster, if at all, than what we're doing now. Maybe if I make an effort to go up and down at the same time, maybe that'll... It just requires more concentration. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a bit of a lazy builder. I don't mind if something usually takes a little bit longer if it means I can put less effort into it. I don't know if you guys build in a similar way. Or requires less concentration, I should say. Not effort, concentration. So, there we go. We've done that to this part. That looks like a thumbs up. That's kind of funny. So, we've done that to this part of the build. We want to do the same thing to, I guess, the remaining part of tier 3, which is this. So, we want to do the same thing here. But we do also want to do the same thing to the inward row as well. So, it doesn't really matter how you accomplish this part. As long as you add the crisscrossy rows, so like the horizontal rows, and then just add, how might we do this? So, and then just add the vertical rows afterwards. In some places we will have to add more and more sandstone to support the glass that we will ultimately place, but this is how it wants to look, and you can see it is quite a pleasing effect once we've done it. And I'm going to come onto this side. I don't even know why, it doesn't really make any sense, but I'm going to do it here, and I should probably stop yapping at this point, because that's what we've got to do, and I think that you guys get that. To stop myself getting confused, I think that I'm actually just going to do all of these corner bits first, because it really doesn't take much, clearly, to get confused. I really can't decide whether it's easier to add the detail from the inside to the outside, but I think I might have come to the conclusion that the outside in is easier. And I bet that if you were watching that, I bet that that's super confusing, but the end result is basically just this. It probably looked harder than it should have done, because again, I was building from the inside, but from the outside I think that it's actually substantially easier, so... Then, last side here, I think it's actually easier to add a row along the inside of here, and then, I don't know why I like starting from the top and working my way down. That's almost the exact opposite of how I build everything else, but for some reason it seems to apply nicely here. There we go, that's nice, that's smoother. We finally figured it out on the last wall. It only took 3 previous attempts to get this running smoothly. Nice, there we go. So now the entire building is Swiss cheese / waffle fries. And now that we have done this, we can just fill in all of the windows with black stained glass. So I think it's easiest to just do it layer by layer, just like this. Just kind of like rotate around the building. Probably going to get dizzy doing this, but you know. You know how in real life, like, if you start spinning, say clockwise, and you get dizzy, like, the antidote is to start spinning the opposite direction, so counterclockwise. I wonder if I get dizzy placing the blocks like this, like going around clockwise. I wonder if I can go in the opposite direction and start to feel like less dizzy. Like, what if I go this way now? Do you know what? Oddly enough, it kind of feels okay. Maybe I'll kind of swap between the two. Am I the only? Oh no, this is hard to fill in. Am I the only one that kind of gets out? Like, if you're like rotating around a building like this, do any of you guys like start feeling a bit weird, like your eyes or anything? Is it just me? Am I just absolutely cooked? No, why would I do that? Honestly, this is starting to look pretty cool. We've almost finished what I would call the first half of the skyscraper, but before we move on, we have to make the entrance area. So to start with, we're going to remove these rows of smooth sandstone. And we will place a row of smooth sandstone here, extending up. So the goal is to extend it up as far as here. And we want to have the same thing on the opposite side. So here we extend all the way up to here. Perfect. Then we are going to place smooth stone across the base here, which we will extend forwards, and then add smooth stone slabs around, just like this. Then we are going to place, I guess this is one row inwards, so we'll extend the smooth stone inwards, and then we will place spruce planks here. We'll place 1, 2, 3, 4, and here 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll extend the smooth stone back a further row and place 1, 2, 3 glass here, 1, 2, 3 glass here. And we will join these spruce planks together, and then we will place oak planks in between, and we will extend them forwards, just like this. Then we will place a layer of smooth sandstone across the top here, and then we have to place... So I do believe that this block right here is actually meant to be a smooth sandstone stairs. So we'll exchange this for a smooth sandstone stairs and this for a smooth sandstone stairs, which is hard to say fast. We will then place upside down smooth sandstone stairs inside of these blocks, and then another row on top facing outwards like this, and then we can just join them together using smooth sandstone. So we create this nice arch shape. And we can then just add another row of smooth sandstone behind this, and then we will place black stained glass just to fill in this entire area. So we'll just have this nice big glass archway like so. And then we will place a row of smooth sandstone behind the stairs slash the smooth sandstone, and then we will extend outwards and down just like this. And then we will place smooth sandstone here. We want to extend a row that extends up here, all the way up to the top, and then it just joins inwards. So here on the opposite side as well, up, and then outwards, like this. So we kind of reduce our space. And then from this point, we want to actually copy the window pattern that we have, just to the left and to the right of us. So we have like another set of windows, extending in, like so. And it looks really cool because it's staggered, so we get this really nice sense of depth. And we have something which should look like this. So this is looking better and better as we go on. And then we don't have to add all of this now, but we will add some of it. We want to have grey terracotta in between these two rows that is set one row backwards, and this will eventually extend all the way up to the very top of the tower, but that is pretty much the entrance of the Daily Planet. With the entrance complete, I think that it's now time for us to make the second half of the skyscraper. Come all the way up to the top front left hand corner and place a smooth sandstone in this position. Place 31 blocks on top of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Then we are able to extend this 31st block across to the right, and we can join it down into the opposite corner of the skyscraper. Then we can extend back and join down into the back corner of the skyscraper. Notice that I'm not counting any of these blocks, I'm just kind of roughly extending back. Kind of overshot that one a little bit, but oh well. Then we can extend all the way across the back of the build, and I've undershot this one, and then we can join it down to this corner. No, that was perfect! And then we can extend, I've impressed myself. And then we can extend all the way to the front of the build, and we can join together like this. Really simple. Then we have to add an additional row of smooth sandstone along the insides of these corner rows. So this side and this side, and we just have to do the exact same thing for the 3 remaining corners. Now that we have done this to each one of the 4 corners, we have to add some more smooth sandstone. So here on the front of the build, we will extend this smooth sandstone all the way up to the very top of the skyscraper. We will then leave a gap of 1 and then extend another row all the way down. Then we will place a glass here at the base with a smooth sandstone on top, and we will just alternate glass and smooth sandstone. All the way up to the very top, just like this. We then want to do the exact same thing here on the opposite side as well, so we start off by extending this smooth sandstone all the way up to the very top. Leave a gap of 1 and then we can just extend all the way down. And then we can just add the alternating glass and sandstone blocks. I'm thinking it might be quicker, or at the very least less click intensive, I think I might have been wrong, to add 1 block and then all of the other. So as long as we have the same effect, it doesn't really matter how we achieve it. And now that we have done that to the front of the build, we can actually go ahead and do the exact same thing to the back of the build. So it's in the same position on the back as it is the front, so it's fairly easy to figure out where to place them. I mean, if you need to, you can just resort to doing this. Nice and simple. So you can just like literally trace it all the way to the very back of the build. But the point is that it's in the exact same position. And we just want to have the 2 parallel rows of smooth sandstone that extend up from the base all the way up to the very top. Then we add the glass as well. Yeah, you know what? I think it is not. It's at the very least a better feeling to place all of one and then the other, whether or not it is faster or not. So that is another one of the rows, and I do believe it's here. So I'm not going to add the guiding row this time, because I'm almost certain that this is in the same position. But if you just do want to make sure, do feel free to just extend the row all the way back, and then you literally cannot go wrong. Okay, this time I'm going to start from the top. I always have to make at least one mistake with the glass. And there we go, that's perfect. So we've done that on the front of the build and the back of the build, but what about the side of the build? Please think about the side of... So on the sides of the build, we want to have 2 of these. So the same as the front, I guess. For some reason, I thought there was more. Sounded all dramatic as well, but the positionings for them are really simple. So on the side of the build, we leave a gap of 3, so 1, 2, 3, and then we place 1, 2, 3 smooth sandstone. And then we leave a gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we place 1, 2, 3 smooth sandstone. So it will look like this. And then we are able to just extend up the left and side of the left and right side of these rows. And then we can just add the same glass that we have done, like, I don't know, 4 times previously. So it should be fairly easy for us to make these. Once we have these rows, we can, as I said, add the glass to them. So just start at the bottom, and that is wrong. Cannot get the timing of that right, no matter how hard I try. because I got one wrong, I then got a bunch of them wrong. That is perfect. So we have that on this side now, which means that we've just got to do the exact same thing all the way over here on this side. And now we'll just count out because it's easy. So we leave a gap of 1, 2, 3, place 3, 1, 2, 3, gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we place 3. So we just have a quick look. Yep, same position as they are on the opposite side, and then we can just apply the smooth sandstone. Now that we have each one of the rows, we can add the glass and sandstone to them. I'm going to try and be a bit more careful this time. Next, we are going to add an additional layer of smooth sandstone directly underneath the top row of smooth sandstone that we placed earlier. The reason for this is not because I accidentally added an extra row. I don't make mistakes. They literally never happen, ever. It's not the end of the world though, because now that we have this extra row, on the corners, we leave a gap of 2, so 1, 2, and then we can actually destroy every other block. So like, destroy this block, gap, destroy, destroy, gap, destroy. You guys get the idea. Until we get to the opposite side, we leave these 2 blocks on the corner, and then we do the exact same thing, just extending across. Reach the corner, leave a gap of 2, and then once again, just... And now that we have this, the castle wall effect, we can actually join all of the gaps together using smooth sandstone slab, which might be even harder to say than smooth sandstone stairs. And now that we have that, we can focus on the inner walls. So we'll do the front and the back first of all, because we're a little bit more complicated. We can begin by extending our grey terracotta row up towards the top of the build. Now, there is a point in which we stop. So we extend the grey terracotta until we are 3 rows away from the top, but we'll get much closer to it first. How far away are we? Okay, so about 3 rows away from the top. So we want to have 1, 2, 3 rows of orange terracotta in between the top of the grey terracotta, except for here. We want to make the middle block grey terracotta. So it wants to look like this. So now that we have this, we can then just fill the gaps to the left and right in using orange terracotta. All the way up to the top. And now that we have done this, we can actually grab sandstone wall, and we can place sandstone wall surrounding the grey terracotta. So just along the side of it, across the top, and then down again, we have this really cool looking shape. I like... It takes a while to zoom out. This is a big building. Like this. That's perfect. And now that we have done this to the front of the build, we want to come all the way to the back and do almost the exact same thing. So on the back of the build, we come to the middle and we place 2 rows of grey terracotta extending inwards from the edge here. We then extend the second row of grey terracotta all the way up. We are quite literally looking to copy what we have on the front, minus the fact that we don't have like the lower half of the row of grey terracotta, but I think that that matches the front. And now that we have done that, we can then add the orange terracotta to the side. I think that this base row here would look better as smooth sandstone, and it certainly does. So we just want to copy the shape that we have on the front of the build. I'm using the front of the build to measure the row of grey terracotta, but I think I'm going to confirm it with this orange. So 1, 2, 3 from the top. We've got that extra block in the middle. That's absolutely perfect. And then we can just hop down. And we can do the same thing here, just on the right. And then we are able to place sandstone wall around the outside of the grey terracotta. And we will end up with something that should look like this. So again, very similar to the front, except we just don't have that lower part, which leaves all of the rest of the building. And in each one of these remaining gaps, we will do the exact same thing. So we will, in the remaining gaps, place rows of orange terracotta extending up the left and right side of the inside of these gaps. It's important to note that the orange terracotta is inside of these rows. And once we have what looks like a giant Twix, we can then place the alternating rows of black glass and orange terracotta. And we basically just do this extending all the way up to the top of the building. So I guess, okay, so something that we're missing is this. So at the top, we will have 2 rows of orange terracotta, and the reason being is we will place rows of smooth sandstone slabs kind of connecting this part of the building together. That I don't want to add them until all of the orange terracotta is in though. So as you can see, at the top, we just want the 2 rows of orange, and I mean, you could have glass if you wanted to. You won't really be able to see it that much, but you could have the glass. I suppose if you were to add the glass at the top, as well as the bottom, it does match, so it wouldn't be out of place. I might even do that, actually, so let's take a look. So this here is what we want to do, like, I don't know, 7 more times throughout the entire build. So I would always recommend adding the 2 rows of smooth sandstone at the base. It just makes placing these parts easier, and then you can just have at it. So again, we're just going to be repeating this many times until we have pretty much what I would call part 2 of the building filled in. And guess what? There is a part 3. I think I'm going to preemptively add in all of the smooth sandstone, because for some reason, and I don't know why, maybe I'm just sensitive, it annoys me to keep having to place it at the start, so I'm just going to add all of these in. And you know what? I'm going to start building over here now, because why not? Do you know what I might do as well? Is I might do all of the vertical rows of orange terracotta in each one of the window spaces, and then do all of the windows like at the same time, like all of the glass and then orange terracotta of the windows at the same time. Because I don't know why, I feel as though that might be a bit more pleasant to do it that way. It doesn't really matter how you do it, of course, as usual. I'm just making things, again, I usually find the most tolerable way to do things for myself, so yeah, do that for yourself. If you would prefer to make them individually and you like doing it that way, feel free. I usually like doing one of everything first, but that's just me. I'm yapping again. So, now that we have all of those rows, I am now going to add all of the glass to them. You know what? I think that I'm going to add glass to all of them first. I'm trying to be super careful with the placement and not go too fast. And all I can hear is my grandmother saying, "A stitch in time saves 9." Which basically translates from old person to, it's better to take your time and do something right than to keep messing it up and therefore just take more time overall. You know what, Gran? I think you might have been right. So there we go, I think that is all of the glass. So now we are just going to go all the way back around and add all of the orange terracotta. This is starting to look very cool, but we do have 2 more things to do before we move on. We have to make a sign out of banners, so we're going to throw down loom, open it up, throw in a white banner with some black dye. We are just writing the words Daily Planet in banner. So the first letter is D. This is the pale sinister pattern. Put white dye in there. Apply the lozenge pattern. Put black dye back in there. Apply base, sheet, and then the pale dexter pattern. That's D. Next is A. This is pale dexter, pale sinister, chief, and then S. Next is I, my favourite letter, it's just the pale pattern. Next is L, this is pale dexter and then base. Next is Y, my not favourite letter, which is the bend pattern. Put white dye in there, apply the perfast inverted pattern, black dye in there, and then apply the bend sinister pattern. So that is the word daily, and then we have to spell out the word planet. So my very, very not favourite letter to make is P, which is pale sinister, white dye, perfast inverted pattern, black dye in there, fess, pale dexter, chief. So that's P. Next would be L, but we have it. Then would be A, but we have it. So instead, we are making N. This is pale dexter, pale sinister, bend. Next is E. This is pale dexter, chief, fess, and base. And then I've thrown it away. Okay. And then lastly, we have to make T. So this is, I'd love a cup of tea. And then we just have to apply the chief and then pale pattern. And we can then take all of our banners, which I'm going to try and arrange in order. We can have all of our banners. Oh, look at that. It takes up the entire hotbar. We can apply to our grey terracotta area, which is why it's so fancy. So at the top, we leave a gap of 2, 1, 2, and then D, A, I, L, Y, space, space, P, L, A, N, E, T. Fantastic. So we have that on the front, daily planet, and we will do the same on the back as well. So once again, leaving a gap of 2, 1, 2, D, A, I, L, Y, gap, gap, P, right, yeah, 1, 2, just had to make sure, P, L, A, N, E, T, phone home. Perfect, so we now have daily planet scribed on both sides of our building, and we're just going to throw those away. We actually have room for them. And before we move on to the mysterious tier 3 of the building, we are going to add a layer of smooth sandstone slabs in between the top pairs of smooth sandstone areas. So I can't really describe it in words, to be quite honest, but I think that you guys can see exactly where we are meant to add that. I think it looks pretty cool, and once you have finished that, we are now ready to move on to part 3. Part 3, the very top of the building. So first up, we are going to add a roof material, which is just going to be smooth stone. We're going to use this at the very top of the build, just behind the faux railings that we have, and this allows us just to walk up here. So if you do have the inclination that you would like to actually turn this into, say, an office building or something, which you could, there's actually more than enough space. I have an office tutorial on my channel that would easily fit in here, I do believe. Then you could do that, or you could turn it into an apartment building or something fun. That might actually be of fun use, since apartments are a little bit more, they're a little bit more malleable, I think. So you could definitely turn this into an apartment building. The idea is to use this building as just a cool landmark in the city. It's not necessary. You don't even necessarily have to fill it up with anything. I haven't in the original. I've just blacked out the windows with yellow concrete, and I've called it a day. Black concrete would also look nice as well, but for some reason I was in the mood for yellow, so maybe I've been listening to too much Coldplay, but once the roof has been filled in with smooth stone, we can now add the next part of the building. So we start in the corner here, and we count inwards diagonally 1, 2, 3, and we place 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 smooth sandstone, and we then extend the smooth sandstone inwards 1, 2, backwards 1, 2, extend across, meet in the middle, and join the corners down. So we effectively make a very simple pillar. and then we fill the insides of said pillar in with sandstone wall. So like this, like this. So this is what we want to have on each corner of the building, really. So we start inwards from the corner, 1, 2, and then 3 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we just extend the tops across by 2, and then eventually just inwards back on itself, just like this, and then we can just fill these sides in. And that looks fantastic, and then we'll do the same over here. So over here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then one last one, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now that we have 4 pillars on the top of our building, we have to join them together, and it's relatively simple. So on each side, we will add a row of smooth sandstone inwards. So this sits right next to the sandstone wall and extends from the base all the way up to the very top. So we'll have some, oh, here as well. And we'll just have something that should look like this. So on the front and the back here, we will then extend, so we want to extend every other row of smooth sandstone. It might actually be easier to add a row of smooth sandstone that extends inwards and across the top here, joining each one of the 4 sides together. And we will have something that should look like this. And then we have to create the grid pattern that we have permeating throughout the entire building. So we'll just sit one row inwards, and we want to have our Swiss cheese, or as I like to think of it, sometimes waffle fries. And we just want to have our rows of smooth sandstone like this. And then we leave a gap of 1, and we do this. So that's on the front. The sides are the same, there's just less of it. So just 2 rows on the sides here, and then it might be easy. It might actually be easier to do all of this from the inside of the build, I think. There we go, that's perfect. So now that we've done that to each one of the 4 sides, we can just fill these in with glass. We can fill this in with glass. And now that we have each one of these walls filled in, we can add some smooth sandstone to the very top of this. And now that we have done that, we want to add, in this position here, a smooth sandstone, which we will extend back to here, and then across to here, forwards to here, and then across here. So let's just take a look. So this is the shape that we want to have created. What? Did that make sense? we then want to add another row of smooth sandstone on top of this. I think that what I was trying to say is this is the shape that we want to have created, which still doesn't sound like it makes sense, but I think it made more sense than what I just said. It might even be identical to what I just said. Anyway, we want to fill the very top of this shape in with smooth sandstone, with smooth stone. And then in the corners, we want to place an additional a smooth sandstone block and then extend it outwards on each side using a smooth sandstone slab. So we extend the corner up and then out at the bottom just using a slab kind of like this. It makes me think of a sand castle for some reason. Sand castle. And now that we have done that, we can now add a grey concrete right in the very middle of the top here. And we want to add a row of grey concrete all the way around that single concrete and then extend the sides out an additional row. Basically what it gives us is this big giant plus shape. Then we extend the middle block up using a block of gold and we extend to the left by 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we extend up, left, and then up by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we extend right, up, and then we extend right by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down, right, down by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then down, left, and then we can just extend all the way back to where we started, and it gives us this giant circle shape. And from this giant circle shape, we then want to extend. We then want to extend our giant circular shape forwards by 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and backwards by 3 rows as well. So 1, 2, 3. And it doesn't really matter which side we start on, front or back. We just have to extend the entire thing forwards and backwards by 3 entire rows. And what we are effectively making, I believe, is a giant golden globe. But funnily enough, it'll have like a big ring around it, so it'll kind of look like Saturn, which is weird. I guess that this daily planet, the planet, is actually Saturn. So I guess we're getting Saturn news. I can't imagine that that's particularly interesting. I don't think too much happens there. Now that we have extended our circular shape forwards and backwards, we are now going to further shape it by adding a layer of gold along the inside of the outer shape of the circle, but sticking out a row. So we just trace along the inside of the shape like this, join together in the corners, and it gives us a slightly smaller circle, which we can then add another layer of gold in front of, and we're just covering up all of the empty space here, and it gives us a pretty nice looking globe shape. So once we have done that, yeah, you see that looks pretty good. I mean, kind of reminds me of the Eye of Sauron a little bit if it was closed, but we want to do that to the back as well. So this will give us the shape that we're after. So remember, first add a layer all the way around the inside, join together in the corners, trace along the inside of the shape, and then the second layer we just cover up all that empty space, and it just gives us our circular shape, which is absolutely perfect. Or a sphere if we want to get technical. So now that we've done that, all we have to do is add our Saturn ring around the top of this, or not the top, kind of in the middle. So it goes right here. We will place a layer of smooth sandstone slab, favourite word to say, or favourite block name to say, and we want to extend this all the way around, just join it together in the corners, and that gives us this. And we should be able to write, I don't think we can, I've actually not tried. Shall we try it? So on the original building, it also says like Daily Planet up here, but What if we put, say, I don't know if this even centers. I've not tried it. So we've got daily, right? And then what if we, does planet fit on the side? Like, planet is, I don't even know how many letters planet is because I'm a bit dumb, unfortunately. But, okay, imagine if that's centered nicely on here. There's no way to make that fit perfectly. That is such a shame. I guess it wouldn't matter, but anyway, so orbiting around this, if you wanted to, you could have like daily planet and maybe like on this side, so almost as if like it's rotating or something. We could have this. I don't know whether it's worth your time for you to do that, but I do think that is cool. It's a shame that it doesn't fit and there's no way to make it, but regardless, once you've done that, you've actually kind of made the whole thing. With that final detail added, we have officially completed this tutorial. However, this video is not over. We must now add the daily planet into our city. I can actually fit this in the downtown portion of my city right now. We do have to move a few things, unfortunately, but this is where I eventually want it to be. This area is set for renovation in the somewhat near future, so this will look a little bit better when that does happen. You may be interested in becoming a channel member. You can click the join button that will be somewhere on the screen right now. This does cost money and is a monthly subscription, but you do get some perks. The first of which is a download link for my city design world. This has every single build that I have placed in my city, arranged in order, and labelled. This perk also comes with schematics for the mods Lightmatica and World Edit, so you can easily reference and copy and paste these builds into your worlds in any way that you'd like. However, if you're not interested in any of that building business, the highest tier allows you to download the most current version of Mini-City. There are also some minor perks, including loyalty badges displayed next to your name whenever you comment something down below on my videos. Depending on how long you have been a channel member, you gain a more prestigious helmet, with the highly coveted gold builder's hat being the most valuable. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.